And hello, my name is Martin, and today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at this fire particle system that we are going to find. So first thing that we want to do is go back into our content folder and type in fire. And I have downloaded a fire pack that I have made available to myself. I don't know if that one is still available. If not, there may be one available. I think there's one in the medieval pack. So anyway, so we're going to take a look and see which one we actually used here in just a second. So what I did to create this kind of like tiki light was it's actually coming from three different packs. So I'm going to type in torch. And when I do that, you're going to see that I get this one, which is actually coming from the medieval, or you can see it there, the ENV Environmental Planes Ruins Static Mesh. And it's coming from the Infinity Blade Grassland. So I'm going to grab that and drag it onto the space there. And then from there, the other thing that I did was because there's nothing in the middle there, there's nothing like a pole holding that in the middle. And if you look at mine, there actually is a little bit of a something there. And you can see that I've actually placed the fire on that what looks like a match head. And I don't have that in this one. So I'm going to grab this other torch and I'm going to drag that one onto the screen. And this one, when I bring it in, is actually quite a bit smaller. So what I had to do is actually make this quite a bit bigger. So let's expand the size of this a bit. And if you keep this on lock, what it's going to do is it's going to expand it in the same, or make it even as it expands all the way up. And that actually doesn't look too bad. That looks more or less like a torch that you might see somebody holding in like maybe a dungeon scene or in a pirate scene or something like that. So let's grab this and let's put it into the middle. Alright, pretty good. Could also slow down while I'm doing this, slow the camera speed down. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in fire. I'm going to see what I actually get for fire. Now, I actually have quite a few in there. There's candle fire, there's torch fire, there are bonfires. So I'm pretty sure the one that we're looking for is torch fire. So let's grab the torch fire and let's put that out on the floor. Okay. So once that's there, let's bring that up just a little bit so we can see what that looks like. And okay. Alright, so when we look at the original torch fire, it's quite a bit smaller than the one that I have. So again, I must have, at this point, also made it just a little bit bigger to accommodate for the size of it. Okay, let's move that up. Let's move that over. And let's try to get this lined up so it's right in the middle. Alright, there we go. Oops, grabbed the wrong thing there, so let's move back. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so it looks like on the one that I have over here on the right, it looks like the fire is actually starting from the bottom. On the one over here on this side, it looks like the fire is up there at the top of the match, or the top of the torch. So let me actually grab this torch. Whoops, not that torch. So let's hit N to put that back on the floor. Okay, let's see if we can grab the one in the middle. Let's make that go up a little bit, so we see a little bit of, a little bit of height on the torch. And from here, what we're probably going to have to do is make this just a little bit bigger too. So I'm going to click on the particle system again, and I know that I have the particle system because I can see the outer edges of it changing shapes. So with that, let's make this bigger. Let's see if that doesn't look better. In a way it does. Let's see if we can move that down, put it at the bottom, and then walk all the way around or rotate all the way around the torch and make sure that it feels correct, like it's in the middle and it doesn't feel like it's burning too much to one side or too much to the other. See, like right here, it feels like it probably needs to move a little bit more. Okay, there we go. And that is the torch. Now, the other thing with this torch is that if I grab all three pieces and let's say I move it a little bit further down, the fire itself is not actually casting any shadow. So let me grab these pieces and let me move them. So I've already got the fire selected. I'm going to hold Shift and Shift while I select the other two pieces. And now with those two pieces selected, I can now move it. So let's move our thumbs this way. Okay, and probably what's happening there is that since I've already manipulated the torch, it may already be producing the light. So let's actually just go take a look at that and see what it looks like. So we are getting the flickering in the background. I'm going to select just the particle system itself, and with the particle system selected, if I scroll down to about right here, I believe I should. You know what? It's going to be in our world outliner. If we right click there and then with the information that it pulls up, go to Edit Torch 1. If I do that, then we'll actually see the particle system emitter. And one of the interesting things that we can do here is we can see how it's going to react to things. So let's hit the View button and let's hit View Geometry. So what I did was in the little viewer that they've given me, I've hit the View button. And then I've gone straight to the bottom to where it says Geometry's Properties. And with that, I can now transform the area that's in the background. So let's change its location a little bit so we can actually move it around. This allows us to be able to see what the particle system is going to look like in relationship to an environment. And actually, if you look at this environment very closely, there's like squares, there's a plane on one side, squares in the middle, and then what looks like landscape on the other side. And for things that I'm trying to see like light things on, I like coming over here to this corner because it gives me the most amount of what looks like a wall, honestly. So let's hit View again. We'll go back to Properties. We'll shift this over a bit. Maybe I'll shift this up. And I can see that I'm actually getting quite a bit of light across that platform. And that is coming from this last emitter here. So if for whatever reason you pull up the torch and you're not seeing this last emitter down there at the bottom, go ahead and create a new emitter. So we would go, okay. So normally what I do is I would go to the end here, and if you right click, you will see a new particle system emitter. And if you do that, you'll then get the very basic things that you would get with a new particle emitter system. And then from there you would right click, and one of the things that you would be looking for is light. There is light, and what we're using is the light seed, and you'll see that's over there. Once you've clicked on that, if you were to click on it, you would come down here to the bottom and you would see all the options in the details panel. And the important thing for this would be you can see that as I make changes, the emitter is going to change, so the light looks a little bit different. Let's see if we can change, let's say like brightness over time. So this would be then a brighter fire, and we see that it does indeed feel a little bit brighter. We should also be able to change the distribution. So if we wanted the light to feel like it was taller. Okay. Let's move that background closer to us so that we can actually see this on the wall. Okay. So again, this says color set over time. So I'm actually, with this one, I'm actually changing the color. So let's set that back to, well, at 0, 0, 0, you're not going to get any color. So you would have to, ooh, that looks nice with the red. So it's almost like the first one is red, the second one is probably a green, and the third one would be a blue. So if we're looking for like something that looks like torchlight, we're probably going to need to go into that red range, probably a little bit of a reddish orange. And we're starting to see more of an orangey red color there. Okay, brightness over life. Let's see if we can change this and make it feel brighter, so you can actually see that it looks like it's getting brighter across the from bottom to top. And alright, so that's how we're going to get the flickering lights. And the flickering lights is actually created because each one of these particle systems is creating a little bit of light themselves. And as they go up and disappear and come into the next one, their little shadows are following each other. And that's what kind of creates this flickering effect, as opposed to earlier where we were using light, let's say, from the details, from the panel, and that was creating a solid light like what we've used for the sodium lights or for the interior lights. This one's a little different because of the particle system, and that particle system, when you add a light to it, will create a bit of a flickering effect to it. So with that, we now have 2 tiki lights that have flickering effects, and that's how we would do that. And for me, that actually feels pretty bright, but they are also large lamps. We could probably make them a little bit more orange, but that's about as far as we really want to get into the particle systems for right now. Remember, we will be making a flame thrower closer to the end of these videos, so probably, like I said, it was the bonus video. So with that, this is probably good enough for right now. Let's go ahead and push play and see what this looks like for the player. Okay, so much better. I still think that that's quite a bit brighter than I would like. So I might go in there and make some adjustments to that light emitter, right? So again, we click on this, click on the particle system, go into the world outliner, right click, go to edit, and on the very last particle, or on the very last emitter, you scroll down, you'll see the light seed, and you'll be able to change color over life and light over life. So let's just do this one again, and let's again move our background so that we can see. So I'm going to go into the viewport, hit view, go to properties, and change. Okay, so I've changed brightness over life, change the radius scale. That brings it all the way down to almost nothing, so that we're not seeing any of the light. Now I can start kind of controlling how much of it I'm actually seeing it, and this is in the radius. Okay, let's say that's alright. Let's close, and that looks a little bit more believable. I might make them just a little bit bigger, but you can see that both of them are actually being affected, and it could just possibly be where this guy is. Let's go Shift, 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 grab that. Let's move it more into the corner, maybe more into the side, so it looks like the other one. I don't know, not a lot of light spillage. I mean, if I'm the player and I see that, it's going to tell me where the wall is, but it's not really going to give me much information about, you know, what's in front of me, or it's not giving me a whole heck of a lot of light. But that might be what you want. That might be the effect that you're looking for. You might be trying to keep this a horror game and not put too much light. Like right now, I know that there's actually somebody standing over there. So if I did unlit, there's Carla from earlier. So let's go Shift, Shift, Shift. And I'm going to make another one of these. Just like we've done with all the other lights, right? Once you've made one and you like the way it looks, you can grab the other, or make an additional copy this way by holding Alt and then dragging out. Okay, we're actually going to put this where Carla is, and then we're going to move Carla and put her out in front. Okay, pushing play again, and let's go see. Okay, she's kind of there, kind of a little hidden. Kind of like the way that's lit now. Probably set up 1 or 2 more of those in the garden, and then I'd be happy with that. Okay, so now you've seen how to bring in a particle system, how to create what looks like fire. This is going to help for anybody that's doing like a horror game, or anybody that has like a medieval game or a pirates game, or a game where some of it takes outside and there might be a fireplace, or maybe you get a key feature is your character gets a torch and you're going to have to, be able to adjust the brightness and the way that the light looks on the particle system when you bring it in. Again, the particle system probably came in with no light. It's probably the fact that I already had one and I had attached the extra emitter to it. And when I did that, I created a new copy of it, and that's why I have the one that I had. Otherwise, I showed you how you can go to the end and create a new emitter, and then from there, right-click in the empty space and add a new light to that. Okay, so hope you enjoyed the video. Go back and watch the different steps so that you can see what I've done again, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.